Welcome back, it's Zion from Uke On Demand, and this week we're teaching Dream Lover by Bobby Darin. This arrangement works with both high G and low G ukuleles, and we're going to go over the first part of the tutorial in this video, but you can get the entire tutorial and all the tabs at ukeondemand.com. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our upcoming fingerstyle tutorials. So to begin, we have a full bar that's just a musical intro, just 4 measures. And before we teach it, I'll play it once just so you can hear how it goes. And to play that section, we're going to start out in a C5 chord, which is just the ring finger on the 3rd fret of the E string. And we strum the G, C, and E strings, but we don't play the A string at all. So just those top 3 strings, just like that. All right. So once we strum that chord, we're going to leave our finger where it is and pick that 3rd fret of E twice by itself. Then you see we move to the open A string and pick that once. And whereas the 3 notes behind us were all 8th notes, this is a quarter note, so we're going to hold it a little bit longer. All right. And then we're just going to keep picking after that. You're going to have the 3rd fret of E again, open A, back to 3rd fret of E. And going into measure 2, we're going to move from a C5 into an A minor chord. So that's just going to be the 2nd fret of the G string, and you're going to strum the entire chord, all the strings. And after that, you're going to pick the open A twice by itself, and then 2nd fret of A. Again, that 2nd fret of A, unlike the 8th notes behind it, you're going to hold it longer. You hold it just like that. And then afterwards, you're going to pick the open A, 2nd fret of A, and open A again. Now, when I did that section, I did a hammer-on just because I found that very comfortable. If you're not sure what a hammer-on is, we do have a tutorial on them in our techniques library at ukeondemand.com, so you want to go see that there. But for this tutorial, we're just going to keep going forward. All right, so we've learned measures 1 and 2. Measures 3 and 4 are exactly the same. They just repeat everything we just learned. So let's go ahead, since you already know how to play this bar, let's go back to the beginning and play the whole bar together very slowly, starting with that C5. Into the A minor. Back to the C5. Into the A minor. All right, and one more time a little bit faster. Then going into bar 2, now we actually get into some lyrics of the song. And I'll go ahead and play this first section, just so you can hear how it can go one more time. And to play that part, I'm going to start out in a C chord, the full regular C chord this time, so ring finger will be on the 3rd fret of A. But before we strum it, we're going to pick the C string by itself first. And then we start playing the lyrics. So you're going to strum down, pick that 3rd fret of A, and strum down again. And then pick the C string, 3rd fret of E. Now, when we pick the 3rd fret of E here, if it has the 3rd fret of E, because the third fret of E is a universal way to play that G note that you're getting, that G4 that you're looking for. It works on both high G and low G tuning. However, if you happen to be using a high G and you're learning this song, you can substitute those third frets of E's for open G's, the open G string, because that will probably be a little bit easier for you to play. And if you're in a low G ukulele, you can't do that because it's an octave lower, it's a G3, and it just would throw the song off. So that's why the tabs say third fret of E, because it can be played on both tunings. But if you happen to be in a high G ukulele, then you can make it a little bit easier on yourself and swap them out. It's optional if you want. You can just play it as written. Either way, I'm going to keep going forward. So going into measure 6, under the word hope, we've got a C chord. I'm going to strum that once. And then come to the 5th fret of A. Then 7th fret of A, and this is also a C chord. We're going to strum all of the strings, just like that. Back down, and we're simply going to walk our way back down. So from the 7th fret, we're going to go back down to 5th fret, and then back down to the 3rd. Right, so that's the first 2 measures on the screen. Now going into the next 2, we're going to pick the C string by itself. 3rd fret of E, open A, A minor chord, and that which we learned in a few minutes ago. So again, 2nd fret of G and strum once. After you strum, immediately pick the 3rd fret of A, and then open A, strum that A minor again, 3rd fret E, and strum A minor again. And that'll be the A minor that's under the word way. Now to sort of carry us through this blank section, we do have some extra notes. We're going to pick the A string by itself one more time, and strum the A minor one more time. And that will carry us through into the words in the next bar. But before we do that, let's go back to the beginning of this one, play it together nice and slow. Now going into bar 3, it's actually going to be very, very similar to bar 2. There's only several differences. All right, and we'll go over them as we get there, just so you can hear how it sounds. I'll play through it once. All right, and that's just a quick way of how it will sound. All right, so starting at measure 9, we're going to pick the C string. But go ahead and make your C chord in advance. So have that ring finger there on the 3rd fret of A, and go actually and have your middle finger right next to it. Or if you want to make it even easier, just do a little bar over those 3rd frets of the E string and A string. All right, and we're going to pick once on the C string. And this is why we make the position in advance. We're going to pick the 3rd fret of E, which your finger's already there. And then we're going to strum. Go back to the 3rd fret of E and strum again. See, we didn't have to move our fingers, even though we played a lot of different notes. We didn't have to move our finger at all because we put it right where it needed to be in advance, so we wouldn't have to do any extra work. Now you might be wondering why, if you're in a high G ukulele, why not just pick the open G string instead of picking the 3rd fret of E? And the answer is that you can. The reason why it says 3rd fret of E on the tabs instead of open G is in case you have a low G ukulele. And whereas in that case, that wouldn't work because the G note would be an octave lower than it should be. It would be a G3 instead of a G4, and that would just throw the song off. So the 3rd fret of E is sort of a universal position to play that G note you want. Though that if you're in a high G ukulele, you can always replace them with the open G string if you find that easier. All right, so going into measure 10 now, Measure 10 is exactly the same as measure 6. We've already learned how to do this. It's this one. So again, that's just the C chord, 5th fret of A, and then the higher C chord, back to 5th fret of A, and back to 3rd. All right, this measure is also, the next measure right after it is almost exactly the same as the one we had in the previous bar. So again, we start by picking the C string, 3rd fret of E, open A, back to 3rd fret of E, A minor chord, and immediately follow that once you strum it, follow it with the 3rd fret of A. And when you do these A minors that have that note afterwards, you'll probably want to use your index finger rather than your middle, because then it's a little easier to get your ring finger where it needs to be on that 3rd fret of the A string. So again, strum once, 3rd fret A. And here at this last measure on the screen, we're going to strum A minor twice. We're going to strum here at the first time, under the word of. Then leaving that finger there, we're going to pick, or have drop our ring finger onto the 3rd fret of E and pick that once. And then remove the ring finger and strum that A minor one more time. And then we've got 3 more notes here at the end of the measure. And unlike the previous bar where we just sort of extended that music with strumming, here we've got 3 notes which actually launch us into the pre-chorus. And so you're just going to pick the 3rd fret of E, open A, and back to the 3rd fret of E. And that little section launches us into this part. And so on. All right, and that's how to play the first section of Dream Lover. To get the rest of the tutorial and all the tabs, make sure to head over to ukeondemand.com. And make sure to subscribe below so you don't miss our upcoming fingerstyle releases. We'll see you next time.